I'm not impatient. What the fuck is? Hey, Brian.
Ryan,
Cool.
Ryan, you need to just. This is a song you should listen to. Listen to this song.
It sounds more exciting than what it is.
Let's see how we can lose our next 3 listeners.
Welcome. We are in the meantime with MeanDave. Back here after a week hiatus because, quite frankly, not everybody that was on board with me bringing these episodes back have been keeping up with them throughout this whole thing. So I could take a week off. We had 8 hard weeks of excellent editing that got better as the time went on, and people just don't appreciate it. So I took a week off. And this week we are back with the Checkin In Endgame episode, the epic. This is just one non-stop checking in. We've got checking in within checking in, and all kinds of checking in and stuff, and endorsements of my fellow comedians and artists and all that. Just want a reminder, since I didn't get a chance to push it earlier, we're going to be talking about a comedian who is very popular on the internet with memes and all that, and that's Mike Fellows, and you can check him out here with all of this stuff. So you're going to see the memes later, and the memes are hilarious, and you're going to want to, if you want to donate to him, to his Venmo, his Cashapp, or his PayPal, or whatever, all the information's right here. But yeah, check him out. You can follow him on Instagram, on Twitter, and on Facebook if you want. And he's a very funny dude, very funny guy on the internet. Never seen him live, never met, only just started talking to him recently. Cool dude. And then the other guy is one of our checking in people, and that's Jason, aka Birdspanker, who is a old friend of mine, a friend of the show as well, and he's also a noisician, makes some very interesting noise, and his group is called Birdspanker, which he has been doing for a long time, and yet never released anything until now, and it's on Bandcamp right here, and I want you to check it out. If you can afford it, and you like the noise that you're hearing, for fans of Throbbing Gristle and Coil and Skinny Puppy, that kind of thing, purchase his album. It's pretty reasonably priced, $7. So yeah, please check him out. And then also, if you enjoy this show and you've been enjoying it and you fucking missed us, want us to stick around and all that, please donate to me right here. As always, the Venmo's here, the PayPal as well at Wolfman Rex. At hotmail.com. Same old shit, different week. Beyond that,
I almost forgot. We have a sponsor this week. I don't know who it is. I got hit up in the middle of the night on Facebook from somebody random, but here is our sponsor. They send us a commercial, so check it out.
Hi, it's me, George Michael. I spent years trying to find the perfect cologne and almost given up. Then I gave it one more try. I found freedom from the search when I discovered Master. The cologne designed exclusively for Paul Morris by Matthew Camp. With essence of leather and cedar and activated by your musk. Don't let the sun go down without getting a bottle today. Available at timgear.com.
let's just cut the shit and get right to the Checkin In Epic Endgame.
All right, welcome. We are in the meantime. This is our Checking In live, not live. Well, I mean, it could be live, but it'll be on the in the meantime. But this is our Checking In segment where I'm checking in with somebody live, even though it's pre-recorded and it will be in a video later. Have you watched any of these, by the way?
I have watched a couple of them, yes.
And have you seen the Checkin In segments in particular where somebody will send me what's going on with them?
I have. They're kind of jokey, right? Like they're trying to be funny. Yeah.
Yeah, not really. They're not trying to be funny. Usually they're one started off not trying to be funny, and it was funnier because, as I've told you time and time again, you're funnier when you're not trying to be. And then once they caught wind that these were being used for that, then they kind of tried to up the funny factor, but not too bad. I think they still turned out okay. And then but the less it just was, people were sending me random videos of shit that I don't want to say I don't care about it, but it was just stuff that I mean, do I need to see you? My friend Melanie sent me these up to date videos of her dog walk, and I love Melanie, God bless her, and it turned out good. I mean, with her dog, I forget what her dog's name was, but they were pursuing a dog named Pinky, and
yeah, I'm taking my dog on a lot more walks these days, and once out of every 10 times I get Cindy to come with me.
Yeah.
And yesterday, the dog pooped 3 times, and the last one was so watery and disgusting, it got caught on his tail. And while I had poop bags, I didn't have like napkins or cleaning products. And so Cindy has agreed now to go on more walks because I ended up with poop on my hands, my clothes, my arm. And it's just...
She agreed to go on more walks?
Yes, if she agreed that Dylan would poop 3 times and I would have to try and clean it up on the fly.
So she just wants to see you covered in shit? Is that...
she and Kaylee just thought it was the greatest walk ever.
Oh,
all we were doing for the first part was complaining about having to move outdoors. But then once I was covered in dog shit, apparently it's a good time. So
that's the ultimate sacrifice. Well, for my audience here, this is Eric Summers, one of the comedians that I travel with a lot in the local area and do our shows quite a bit, work with them quite a bit. If I get a choice in bringing a feature or an opener comedian, if I get to headline a wonderful restaurant or bar show, one of my go-tos is this guy.
Absolutely. I have a comfortable car and I enjoy Cool Keith. So.
Yes, exactly. Cool Keith fan, converted Cool Keith fan. And also since the shelter in place, one of the most outspoken advocates for not doing Zoom comedy shows. I wouldn't say outspoken. You weren't like out there. There's more outspoken, like James Vergon, who barely does comedy. He's been a staple on our show. I've taken some photos of his and used them quite often for gags.
Mean Dave. So let's talk about our friend Mean Dave, Mr. David Godillo. That's his real name. He's so mean. He talks shit on Facebook. That's how mean he is.
And I don't think he'd appreciate it either if he saw how much I used him. But that's don't put that shit out there. But no, because he's been outspoken about shitting on Zoom show, basically anything. And I relate to anybody who's a hater. I do relate to haters. But I also feel like if you're going to be a hater, you do need some clout. And the only clout he's got is being Bane, comedy Bane.
Mean Dave has had multiple DUIs. So I think it's time we call him Stupid Dave. That's pretty stupid, man. Super Dave was already taken by someone who's actually funny.
Which I do enjoy, but I think like 5 other people enjoy.
I'm glad you brought this up. When we realized we weren't going to be able to do live comedy, a lot of people started doing Zoom shows. When you're on the computer, you can watch all the best comedians doing completely refined sets, their best work in front of live audiences, and it's limitless. So why would you want to watch amateur or unpolished comedy?
There's pros too. There's pros doing this bullshit.
Absolutely. Well, that's what I learned. It was my bad. I'm usually on the wrong side.
Very much your bad. Very much your bad. Closed-minded as always, Eric Summers.
But you got to understand, my reasoning was sound.
Everybody's reasoning was, believe me, and this is the only thing that separates me from you. I had a window of opportunity to try to do one based on that I was seduced into doing it through the promise of, oh, these people are going to tip a lot. You know me. I'm like, I'll do anything that's awful if there's the promise of money at the end of it. And it wasn't that it wasn't excruciating at all. It was actually a lot of fun. And we had an audience who enjoyed it. We did it again the following Friday with the same lineup, and it was not, it wasn't that it went badly. It just wasn't.
MeanDave is so mean, he's binge-watched every episode of the Gilmore Girls. Hey, Dave, are you Lauren or Alexis? Which one are you?
Of the thing. This is my buddy Rob. He's joining us. Don't worry about it. You're gonna be. You thought the thing got bombed by a handsome headshot there. No, that's my buddy Rob Davis, who you're about to meet.
Nice.
It just felt like diminishing returns, and then I just got the idea, and I'm like, you know what? I can run with this with my podcast. Nina got the idea of doing stuff, and yada yada. So, what's up, Rob? It sounded like a robot.
With your shit. I'm gonna try and make sure I mute and unmute you and see if that fixes it here. Hang on a second. Unmute yourself, man.
Seems all right. Working all right now. So.
I like the Iron Maiden shirt, but what are you hiding behind you with the big blue blanket? I'm dying to know. Is it like Civil War stuff, or what's going on? I mean, nice to meet you. That's what I meant to say.
Nice to meet you.
Is that a blue thing for filming or something, like a blue screen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have several backdrops that I just move things around, and when I have to do a self tape or whatever, this is my studio.
Nice. All right, that's what I figured. See, Eric, I've been doing what is known in the industry as laying pipe throughout my show, which is a term you introduced me to, not in any sexual connotations either. It's Rob has been on the show before. He was on our tribute to Joey Nitro, rest in peace, and because he used to work at FCC Free Radio out here for John Suckadick Miller, who ran that shit. And he's gone on to play. He played in a band called Disaster, which was a really cool thrash band locally. And then he moved down to Southern California, and he's been you live in Ventura, correct?
No, I live in Venice.
Venice, that's right. I knew it was a V word.
Venice.
He lives in Venice, and he's currently like getting in acting gigs and stuff like that. So he's very savvy to a lot of. Eric's from Southern California. Eric's a comedian from Southern California, moved up here to Fremont to break into show business, as he likes to say in his act. And Eric's just a very cool dude who I enjoy his comedy, and I enjoy the folly of his comedy woes, because he's a funny dude, but also he's a hilarious dude off stage. And it's,
you can tell, for sure.
Yeah, and it's in working with him that I find a lot of joy in working with him. And you know me, Rob. If I enjoy working with somebody, I don't give a fuck what, I don't care if they're the worst comic. I'll still work with them. So.
Okay, hey, I remember tons of what do they call it? Like the short bus of comedy in San Francisco.
Yeah. Oh,
used to be on your show, like Chris Shapakazi, and like some of that stuff was like, I mean, on a different plane.
Yeah, no, that was definitely that was kind of where my co-hosts came from too at the time. Not to knock them, but it was definitely some whack pack type shit.
Yeah.
Eric's not on that bus. Eric is Eric's on the long bus. He might sit in the back. That's he might not get to sit. He sits in the middle sometimes. But I champion him to be a guy that's and we've worked together more focused in the last 3 years, and I think a lot has come from it. I actually talked to one of your friends for the first time ever, heard his voice, we got to chatting all fucking morning. I think on some tangent, but Mike Fellows, the infamous Mike Fellows, the memester. Rob, if you ever want to see some really funny memes, I don't even know if he has his Instagram account activated because he kept getting them stolen. But there's a guy on Facebook, Mike Fellows, who makes some hilarious memes and posts and stuff, and he's probably one of the best on like Facebook comedians that we know.
Now, this conversation you had with him, I am assuming is in the form of recorded Facebook Messenger messages.
That's exactly what.
Yeah. Correct. But yeah, he'll never pick up the phone to talk to you.
Kind of what I'm looking at here. It's like the front yard. There's the fucking pool and shit. There's a separate empty lot next door. But yeah, there's the ocean back there. It's pretty cool. There's a backyard with some fucking goats.
You look like Mexican Silent Bob. You look like Aquaman who was born with fetal alcohol syndrome, and you look like Value Brown Jesus.
But he'll talk into a microphone, and if it comes out okay, send it. It's very, very smart.
He is, and you told me he stuttered, so I was expecting a stutter, which he never did.
Okay, what I said was that, yeah, he has on stage, he can lapse into a sort of a stuttering kind of speech pattern. It's not like Nino, like a classic stutter.
Like he's not an act. Well, do you think, does he stutter at all?
Part of Mike's story is that he's born with fetal alcohol syndrome.
That's, yeah.
So he's got, some tics and stuff when he gets nervous.
Wouldn't know what to look at him. He looks, he's a strapping young lad and with a smooth voice. Like Rob, it seems like somebody that, like, to know Rob was somebody when I met very, has very, the word chill comes to mind.
Stoned, you mean?
Not just stoned. No, because I've been around you sober. You're not, you're not high right now, I imagine, right?
I'm awake.
There you go. See, that's what I'm talking about. Well, not worried. Even when you're pissed off or something, I've seen you pissed off a couple times, and you're still pretty, kind of pretty collected. And but no, Mike was somebody that talking to him. He was a guy that he was telling me because he never did acid until his early 30s. He just recently got into acid in the last few years. And to talk to him, I would have thought he's been on acid since he was, in school and stuff. And I was like, well, it's good that you found it in your 30s, because if you found it when I did at 15, you'd wind up, probably in my boat. And it seems like he's kind of enjoying his life a little bit more. But who's to say? Who's to really say?
They say it's actually a lot more beneficial to use psychedelics when you get older.
I believe it.
Like the therapeutic benefits. If you listen or read Michael Pollan, How to Change Your Mind, that's an incredible book on the use of psychedelic substances in modern medicine. It's amazing.
You hear that, Eric?
I saw Midsummer, so I don't see how it could go wrong.
Yeah, well, not Midsommar. It's Midsommar, and I think if anything, Eric could benefit from some.
I would love to try psychedelics.
I think this is that Zoom show shit.
You just send this straight to Child Protective Services for when I try to
get away. You don't do it around your family, motherfucker. You get out,
Pull an entourage and go to the.
I would even look after you for a day if you were like going to do that shit, just because I would have a blast watching your ass freak the fuck out. But that's just.
Yeah, you want a guide. Having a sober guide is the best fucking thing. Like if you can find somebody that's sober that can drive you around, put on some fucking music, go on some back road, like that is therapy.
Our buddy, my friend Doug, he was the guy that was our go-to, because he didn't really like to do drugs when we were teenagers. Like, he never liked smoking weed. He never was interested in acid until he saw us tripping. He would drive us around because he would hang out with us, and then he he ended up getting curious. He was like, oh, I'm kind of curious about this acid thing after seeing you guys trip a few times, and you look like, you know, you're seeing some other shit or whatever. And the first time he did acid was with me at my parents' house when he stayed over. I think they were out of town, and he dropped it and he fell asleep. So he pretty much wasted a trip of acid. He woke up like still tripping a little bit, but he said he had some great dreams. But ultimately, and the thing was, is they used to cut it with strychnine or whatever back in the day. It was like cut with speed or something. You'd be up. Your adrenaline would go. So for a guy at that time with the hits that we had, I was tripping balls all night. And this dude was sleeping right there the whole time. And I'm like, how this motherfucker's sleeping on acid? I don't get him. But anyway. He'd sleep on coke too, I'm guessing.
Hey Dave, Jason, I'm just going through some records that I'm probably going to be selling pretty soon, and just thought I'd check in with you while I do it, just because it gets a little boring sorting through stacks of records all by one's lonesome. So as we go along, I will keep you posted on my progress.
I mean, maybe it's for me. I can tell you this much. When I wake up at 4:30 in the morning and I feel like I'm not going to be able to go back to sleep, I'll take a Benadryl so I can sleep till 7:30, and that gives me outlandish dreams.
There you go.
I don't know if my body chemistry is ready for mushrooms.
Oh yeah.
I don't know.
We're not talking mushrooms. We're talking LSD. We're talking 12-hour commitment.
How dare you? Okay.
Yeah. It'd be good. I think because that way I'll face your fears. I'll put it this way. I don't have a license, but I'd drive you around in your car, Brian Balls, and just be like, no, officer, I got a license. It's a license to protect my friends. So
I am a shaman.
Yeah, exactly. So, Rob, how are you doing down in I keep forgetting, you're in a V town, Venice? How's
Venice.
Venice been treating you
Venice
like
Beach.
a couple weeks? Huh?
Yeah, I mean, the weather's been amazing here.
Yeah.
So people have been out and about. I'm still working, so I'm dealing with the masses at the grocery store on a daily basis. So it's actually been nice. I've got a new perspective that I actually give all to. I took some mushroom trips recently, and it's helped me. You talk about how chill of a person I am. When I get into work and especially in a management capacity, I don't know. I get on edge. Dealing with thousands of people on a daily basis, that takes away that chill.
Oh yeah.
But I've found that chill again, I think, and now it's just funny to watch these people. They're fucking crazy.
Psychedelics around people, when you're around, if you're in any capacity, or I used to drop acid and go to work when I was working, and I worked at the mall. I worked at a place called Pretzel Time. And we made pretzels. The mall was kind of busy, not that busy, but and I would be making pretzels. Mostly, my favorite part of it was to wash dishes. I never enjoyed washing dishes unless I was frying. Then all of a sudden, somehow I got into the groove of the sounds. It would be right next to the water heater that made noise, and I'd be listening to the sound because everything's music when I'm on psychedelics, mainly acid. And so I got into the noise, the buzzes, and just the sounds of shit going on out in the mall, echoing and all that stuff. And so I'd always be doing the menial tasks so I could just kind of trip out in my brain. And then, but as soon as you got to interact with the public, then it gets a little tricky. Then if you, especially if you're surrounded by people. We went to a mall on one of my first trips, and we wandered around. We went to a KB toy store. My buddy stole some Legos, and I didn't realize he stole them until we left. And so we're glad we didn't get caught, stealing anything. But I don't know. It didn't feel like the place to be, being in a consumer area. You want to be around, I don't know, just anything that's kind of comfortable, or they always say get into nature and all that shit. That's cool too. I like the beach.
or even just on your couch, safe on your couch with an unlimited amount of funny things to watch.
Funny, or you need, like, because I remember I thought it would be a good idea to watch. I thought it would be a good idea to watch A Streetcar Named Desire, not the movie for LSD. Melodrama with Marlon Brando yelling "Stella," and like it's just annoying.
It's a bad movie to sit, like movies and drug combinations. You would think this is the perfect. I got coked out and watched Scarface one time, and it was the worst fucking thing I can remember. The movie's so long.
Yeah.
Like, it was awful.
And you're trapped. You're trapped in a downward spiral. You know?
Yeah. It's like it was the worst feeling that I had. Not only was I like coming down off of the high, I was watching Tony Montana come down off his high of life.
Yeah. No, all bad. It's like watching Bad Lieutenant on coke too, which I've done. King of New York, though, enjoyable when you're when you're on any drug. King of New York's good.
Okay, so check it out. I've sorted out some things that I'm definitely gonna get rid of, but check this out. This is fucking crazy. This blows me away. See that? Let me turn this around. See that price tag there? $1. $1 for this old drum and bass record. That's actually a reissue of a record. It's the American reissue of a British record. That $1 price tag, this record is now selling for $50 now, which is fucking crazy. Another thing I found that I forgot that I had was this lovely little record. If you can't tell what that is, it's a pair of bunnies 69ing. It's picture disc. Kind of a strange record. So there's a little bunny wang and little bunny orifice there. It's apparently an oddly disturbing and humorous rabbit love story. Isn't that wonderful?
Eric, what you don't do psychedelics, but if you were to, what movie would you think you would enjoy on
I'm turning around right now and rewatch Capone, the new Tom Hardy movie. Have you seen it?
There's a new Tom Hardy movie called
Yeah.
Capone.
Oh, is it any good?
It is. Look,
I've
I'm the world's
read
biggest-
mixed reviews on it.
I'm the biggest Tom Hardy fan on the planet. Like, I heard one person say they could watch James Earl Jones read the phone book. Like, they're that big a fan. That's how big a fan I am of Tom Hardy. This movie was...
Got 38% on Rotten Tomatoes.
It deserves a negative 38%. It is so boring.
It was boring.
It's a movie about Al Capone starring Tom Hardy. And if you ever saw The Krays, where he played both Kray brothers, like mobsters in England, one of the greatest films you're ever going to see. I highly recommend The Krays. My expectations were through the roof. And the movie is Al Capone's last year living at home, suffering from dementia. And
that's definitely the least exciting part of his life.
I mean, it sounds like they were trying to channel Bronson. Like, that's what you think of Bronson, but it's far from that.
Have you ever seen the movie Lock? It's a Tom Hardy movie. It's him driving in the front seat of his car for an hour and a half, and it is unbelievably riveting. Kind of like Phone Booth with Colin Farrell. Like, he's in the phone booth for an hour and a half. How is that good? I don't know, but it's good. And so I'm sure I liked it. Anyway, I'm sure that they cast Hardy in this Capone movie. Like, if anyone can make this work, it's going to be him. And nobody can make this movie work.
Interesting. I've been revisiting Dark Knight Rises a lot lately. So I enjoy the Bane character of his. I don't know why people were poo-pooing it so much.
Mean Dave is what you would have if you fed a mogwai after midnight.
When that came out.
His Bane's not bad. That movie's just kind of bad.
No, movie's great. Movie's great, Rob. It's
very it's like fanboy pleasing is what it feels like.
I don't think so. No, it's Christopher Nolan who made that shit, man. He's not a fanboy. He don't even like Batman. He did it so
he
he did it to make his other movies. So that's why I like.
Here's Robin.
He made it more.
Here's Robin.
He didn't know the Robin thing. That was just no, the way that he incorporated that. He didn't really have Robin. He had him. He's gonna have him be like the new Batman. He'll probably be Nightwing and Christopher Nolan's future. And besides, they didn't even continue it anyway, so we don't have to worry about that shit. That shit resolved itself. So,
I'm googling Bane, but I still don't know what it is.
you don't know? You've never seen The Dark Knight Rises?
Nah.
MeanDave is single, you know. How? How does that happen? How are you single? I don't get it.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. That's Eric for you. Loves Tom Hardy. Didn't see one of the most popular fucking roles he's ever.
Remember, I used to think Thanos was a political character.
Yeah.
Like a politician running for office.
He kind of is. Thanos' speeches definitely were like a politician. He's like basically saying like he's doing, he was trying to make his case for the snap and killing ending half of existence. Which
right. It's like throwing half the people off the lifeboat so the other people can enjoy the ride. I get it.
That's why I love all this bullshit around the coronavirus, because everybody who's like, man, Thanos was right, are the very people like, why aren't you wearing your masks? I'm like, Jesus Christ, you fucking idiot. You're either for
Who is Bane? Bane, what does he do? What is Bane?
Bane's a comic book character. This could all be done easily in the Google search, but let's have a fun.
I tried. I give me whatever. Go ahead.
You say Bane and Batman. That's all. Bane was a character.
He's one of Batman's rogues.
He's one of the rogues gallery of Batman. But the thing about it is, he's not one of the OGs. He's not a Penguin. He's not a Riddler. He's not a Joker. Bane's one of the more obscure later ones. He was a strong man that then I don't know exactly from the comic book lore, but he was a strong man guy that then like got fucked up or something, and he required wearing a mask in order to survive. So what they did in the I'm gonna spoil it for you because you got to keep want to see this fucking movie anytime soon. What they did in the Dark Knight series of Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight, the first story was the League of Shadows, run by Ra's al Ghul, which was Liam Neeson's character. That was the big reveal of that bullshit, that he was Ra's al Ghul the whole time. But and that's a character I also didn't know from the original Batman lore. Like, Nolan's only used the Scarecrow, and he used the Scarecrow, Joker, and Two-Face. Those are like the most familiar villains. And Two-Face even not so much, but like the Joker and Scarecrow were kind of OGs. But he didn't go to your typical ones, because I think he wanted to root it in real world kind of realism. And then you got to then when he got the League of Shadows, which was this secret organization that were of these trained killers and fighters and all that. That's what trained Batman, Ra's al Ghul. And then he ended up having to fight them when they were trying to destroy Gotham City. And that's Batman Begins. Dark Knight is the Joker one. Joker wreaking havoc. He was the cool Joker, Fight Club Joker.
Yeah, I saw those two. I saw the first two.
Okay, so you know those. So all that happens in Dark Knight Rises is you have Bane, who now Bane shows up and he resembles the strong man. It's Tom Hardy at his as like Bronson level ripped.
It's Tom Hardy? That's all you had to say, man. I'm on.
Why do you fucking think I'm bringing this up? So I've been talking about it for the last 10 minutes.
I didn't know why you were bringing it up.
Tom Hardy is basically he's at his Bronson level buffness, playing Bane, and so he's got this mask on. He resembles Bane as the strong man, but he's not. That's not his history. He actually he ends up being this guy that runs a terrorist organization. He comes from some pit of hell, and if you want to watch the movie, if you're going to see the movie, I don't want to spoil it for you.
Okay, I'll watch it today and I'll get back to you.
I'm telling you, it ties it all together. It ties the trilogy. Well, I want to say the whole trilogy, but it all works. And some people didn't like it, like Rob was saying. He wasn't that thrilled with it. I liked it a lot. But that's me.
It's too long and convoluted.
Couldn't have been long. Could have been longer. I felt like could.
Are you talking about the movie or Dave's explanation of Bane?
Both, really. But I mean,
Mean Dave loves Zoom shows. He's been on every Zoom show I have ever seen. My son was talking to his teacher, distance learning, and Mean Dave showed up.
Nothing.
Yeah, so-
Nothing. Okay.
In the comic books, Bane is like from Argentina.
Yeah.
Argentina.
Yeah.
Argentinian, and he's like the son of like a fucking assassin or something that was basically like left to. So in the animated series, he's voiced by Ricardo Montalban.
Wow.
Okay.
Because he also had like circus background because he was the strong man for a
That's
minute.
who I thought of as Bane when I was a kid.
Yeah, no, but I just know all I know is he's a big guy with a mask. They use actually, that's the strangest thing too. That Bane was one of the only characters. Bane, it's the strangest thing because he did use Bane, and Bane appeared in the worst Batman movie, which was Batman and Robin, that Joel Schumacher made, and that Bane looked ridiculous. He was just a big green dude that just went, "Oh!" He looked like the Toxic Avenger more than anything else. Yeah. So yeah, it was just, I think Nolan was making choices that he thought he could adapt and make a feel of a realistic Batman than and it worked too. I enjoyed the Batman series more than most comic book movies. So I don't even like Batman. So, but I wouldn't see them on psychedelics. That's tie that shit together. If you want to see a Nolan movie on psychedelics, maybe Interstellar would be the movie to go with. Movies are too sweet. So.
Okay, so I had to come up with a better way of doing this because I don't know how the children of today manage with all this shit, but I can't fucking do this shit one-handed holding the camera and all that junk, so let's try this. Okay, so something that I suddenly realized as I was going through this process is just how ridiculous the vinyl, and it's not vinyls, children. The plural of vinyl is not vinyls with an S, it's singular. Vinyl works for plural vinyl as well. If you want to say something with an S at the end, say records, please. I'm so sick of fucking hearing people talk about vinyls. It just makes me want to throw up. Anyhow, one thing I realized is that it's become fashion more than appreciation of music, which, fine. Call me, grumpy old man. That's fine. I'm comfortable with that label. But this is what I'm talking about. Okay, so we have here 2 records by the same band. Okay, band is called Damaged Bug. We have this, which is Cold Hot Plums, which is a fucking great record. This is the follow-up to Cold Hot Plums called Bunker Funk, which is not nearly as good a record. Okay. Now, Cold Hot Plums, let's see, I have to look at my notes because I'm using my phone to record this. Cold Hot Plums on the secondary market goes for $14 to $20, okay? Now, please note, this record, black vinyl, right? Now, Bunker Funk by Damaged Bug, same band, not nearly as good a record, I have to say. So, Damaged Bug, Cold Hot Plums, awesome fucking record. Bunker Funk, not as awesome. But look at this. Okay, so now we've got high fashion, pretty fucking vinyl, right? Now this one is going for $50 or around 57 is like the top price, but around $50 you can get a used copy of this on Discogs. Now, it's pretty clear to me, I have other examples, but I won't bore you with them. It's pretty clear to me that the main reason that one is worth more than the other, the biggest reason, is simply because they splurged on the colorful vinyl. Now, ask any record nerd, ask anybody who's ever dealt with pressing records, and they'll tell you best quality vinyl is going to be black. It's the most durable, it'll last the longest, it sounds the best. colored vinyl is cute and pretty and all, but it's just a fashion play, okay? But today, people, they're not buying records to fucking listen to the music. They're buying records because they want to have an artifact, a pretty colored vinyl artifact. And, that's fine, whatever. I don't mind that so much. But what bugs me is when
It's pure indulgence. Would you look at that? What's that? Oh, yeah. Not too shabby.
Sorry. When it comes down to things like this, where, okay, this record, Woozor, one of my favorite fucking records, Dave's band from back in the day. It's got my favorite Woozor, this record has my favorite Woozor song on it, Like This or Like That Bitch on the B-side. And look at that. Oh, beautiful red vinyl. Okay, now this 7-inch, which is, limited quantities and everything, red vinyl is only $2 or $3 on Discogs, right? That's fair. Dave pointed out to me, that nobody really knew who they were or whatever. But that doesn't matter to me, because to me that's one of my most fucking important records and gets no recognition whatsoever. Now here we have another Damaged Bug record, also 7-inch. Please note that this 7-inch is pretty vinyl again. This 7-inch goes for about $40. It's kind of fucking crazy. Granted, more people know who Damaged Bug is than Woozor, but still, it's so irritating. I mean, there's just no justice in it. I mean, it's ridiculous. Fantastic records like this one, Godhead Silo, Elephantitis of the Night. Again, Godhead Silo, Friendship Village. Tourette's, Hidden Keys to Loving Relationships. One of the best records that I own. One of my all-time favorites. I will never ever get rid of this record. It's a great East Bay punk rock record made by very young girls back in 1994. Hidden Keys to Loving Relationships. Fantastic, by the Tourette's. Love it. Oh, those records, $2-3 at the most on Discogs. Now this is also cool. This is kind of priceless. This is from a band called Les Georges Leningrad they were from Quebec. And they were really interested in putting a split release out with a band called Erase Errata. And so in order to actualize this goal, they screen printed this fake 7-inch. Fake 7-inch, like not an actual release, as a split record, with Erase Errata. So then you have this is cardboard. This is not actually a record. They screen printed these. Le Georges Leningrad on one side, Erase Errata on the other side. Fucking amazing. Really super cool. I'll never get rid of that. Also, nobody knows it exists, so it's not worth a goddamn thing. But it's wonderful stuff, and it's just people don't value this stuff, and it just makes me want to scream. I'll tell you that.
So shrooms are they opening up a lot more down in Venice there, Rob?
No, I mean the beaches opened, but everything else is closed down here in LA.
I wondered if anyone in his store, the employees, have caught the virus from any of the customers. Or anything like that.
Any coronavirus cases in your store, customers or employees?
Yeah. Several, quite a few. Who knows in terms of unreported, but there have been at least 3 positive tests. 2 of the people have already come back, so they've served their 14-day quarantine, and then somebody that I work directly with just tested positive.
Mm-hmm. And you haven't felt any symptoms of anything? You haven't felt any symptoms of anything?
I'm pretty sure in December, I had the worst flu that I've ever fucking had. I had like 103.5 fever. I went to the doctor, got tested for the flu, came back negative. So I had a lot of the symptoms. So that could have been it. Yeah. That could have been it. But no, like since the first positive cases were reported in our store, I haven't had any cold-like, flu-like, any symptoms. I felt pretty good.
Mm-hmm. See, I think what it has to do with this COVID really revolves around your attitude. You have a good attitude, maybe you're more likely to be asymptomatic. Who knows?
Yeah, it sounds like you had it in December. That's what it sounds like.
So, no, Eric and his whole family, they were all fucked up at the start of all this shit. So.
Yeah, we were all sick, but we didn't have flu-like symptoms and we didn't have fevers.
You were coughing.
We had bad colds and coughs.
That's what it is. It's in your lungs. That's where it resides.
But that was months ago. Yeah, I think we should all take the antibody test and see who at least has had it.
Well, my theory for is that maybe people would fear this more if we opened everything up and said, "Don't worry about the masks," and that way people would get it more, and then know to fear it more, and then they would want to be, willfully quarantined and wear the masks. So that's my plan. Open the shit up, just so that they'll be more about closing it up. Let the fears speak for themselves. But no one listens to Dave. So cool, man.
I haven't had
Mean Dave. Dave, I was thinking about you, man. I hope you're doing well. I hope your family's all good. And maybe one of these days we might see each other in person.
There haven't been any spikes yet in any of the cities that have reopened, but there's still time for shit to go bad.
I keep hearing mixed shit about that. Some keep saying, because you got everybody fucking. Here's the thing. Even if it was reported that, hey, actually it's okay, we can open back up, you got motherfuckers that want so bad to be right about their fears, that want their fears to be justified, that they'll be like, no, that news report's bullshit. You already see it. And there's at least like 3 comedians on my timeline that act as though they're the president and give like daily briefings that are like paragraphs long of like, this is the hard science and da-da-da-da-da. And I'm like, yeah, it's great. You know what? And if you really want to do that, why don't you go stay in fucking school and become a scientist or become whatever they call it, entomologist, episiologist, whatever the fuck it is.
Yeah.
But no, you became a comedian, which means that
a virologist.
Which means that I don't care what articles you read and are regurgitating. I think you're full of shit.
Yeah.
They're my friends too, and that's the thing is I know they see my posts because I'm mocking them. I don't like, it's like it's just like one of those things where, someone, I need my car worked on, let me go talk to this guy who's selling tickets at the movie theater to see what he thinks is wrong with my car.
The problem with that though, Dave, is if there's something wrong with your car and then you tell everybody in the country they can no longer drive to work, it becomes their business, right?
Mm-hmm. I understand.
You know what I'm saying? That's a perfect analogy.
No, my analogies ain't all that great either, but I'm just saying but I mean, I get it. Your analogy trumps my analogy. Yeah, still, I just think it's horseshit for comedians to be acting like they're giving CDC press conferences based on just like, look, I read my news and I double check it and cross-reference it with this, that, and the other. I'm like, well, why don't you write a fucking joke about it then, dickhead? Because that's technically what you're supposed to do. So I don't know. What do you think, Rob? He's frozen. I don't know what's wrong with your internet, Rob, but yeah, you've been freezing and buzzing and all kinds of shit.
I think your internet has a virus, something going on. I don't know, maybe.
I just thought it looks like
dumb.
He's staring into space.
Yeah. Now you're back.
You're staring at this for a long time.
I have the worst internet connection. I can't I'm like 3 seconds, 2 minutes behind at all points.
Yeah.
No, you have a ton of people that are basically just practicing their media dissemination skills.
What was that word right there? What was that word?
Media dissemination.
Reading
something.
Oh shit! We're being joined by Eric's dog Dylan.
Otherwise, he's just gonna scratch at the door.
Let's see. Oh my god! Let's see if the dog barks at the computer.
No, he isn't gonna bark at the computer.
What's up, Dylan? You little prick. How you doing? Look at him.
He's a lap dog, like literally a lap dog.
This is a dog that looks exactly like Eric. I've said this before, time and time again. The dog resembles. It looks like, you know, the thing is too. Looks like a Muppet. Your dog resembles some kind of Muppet. But
It is a. Those dogs do look. We have a dog like that here, very Muppet-esque.
Mhm.
you know what's weird? It was a white,
Jim
it was
Henson would be proud.
totally white-haired dog, and then all of a sudden, it started growing some brown. Like, you know.
Mhm.
That's shit.
You know what? From our walk the other day, if I showed you his tail, I'm not sure I got it all out. It's all right, though.
His watery poops. Yeah,
It's,
I feel him. So.
My bad. Too much people food. He's a good beggar, and I'm a softie.
Okay, finally, Dave, there are, I have to admit, a few Melvin's records that I'm probably going to be trying to get rid of because I don't really need them. For example, this Bride of Frankenstein 10-inch, which has fantastic screen printed cover art by Hayes, you know, came out on Amphetamine Reptile. They were selling it at their tour. It's got 3 tracks on it because they didn't fit on the record itself, on the vinyl release, but it came out on the CD, which I also have, so I don't really need this record, and it's looking like, let's see, it's going for a good, well, the lowest price available on Discogs right now is $64, but it's sold for as high as $98. Okay, so, you know, it's kind of tempting. And then also, we've got Stag here, which is probably well, before I bought the Bride of Frankenstein record, this one was the most expensive Melvin's record that I own. This one goes, see, lowest price right now is $54, but it's sold for as high as $201. And then there's Prick, which, you know, it's kind of a novelty record, you know, I'd say. That one's going for, it looks like around $42, but it sold us for as high as $60. Now, Prick, I kind of like Prick. Prick's got some good stuff on it. I do love the pure digital silence and the irony of listening to pure digital silence on a vinyl record. But Stag, I just never, ever really liked this album at all. Never did care for anything on this album. You know, I bought it when it was new. Look, there's another thing. I bought it when it was new. That was the actual price when I first bought it, $9.44. And like I said, this is going for substantially more now because of all the Melvin's nerds. And speaking of Melvin's nerds, I know you are one, so make an offer, man. Make an offer. I got these 3 for sale. Let me know. All right, later.
All right, on. Well, this is good checking in with you guys. So any last thoughts? I don't know, anything going on with you? You know, that you care to talk about? We got 9 minutes left on my my free use of Zoom.
Yeah, this week I'm going to do my first Zoom comedy, so we'll see how that goes. And my hopes are not high, so that's good. My expectations are it's rehearsing comedy into your bathroom mirror, and you hope the audience is laughing, but I hope I'm proved wrong, Dave.
Which show is this?
I'm going to be on Tony's thing on Thursday night.
Nice.
And I'm going to do Woodham's tonight, so...
Yeah, no, those will be good. They'll be, I think it'll be actually less painful than doing the open mics that you actually have done at Woodham.
Well, that's not saying much, but yes, you probably.
I think it'll be a lot easier because that way it's so much easier to close up your computer and march away.
At least you can't turn the lights off in my house as I'm doing my set.
At Woodham's, they turn the lights off on you until you get a laugh, and Eric suffered from a lot of sets where the lights were off the whole time.
Yeah, the problem is the crowd was against me.
There's no crowd there.
I don't know if you know it. It's tough being a middle-aged white guy.
I don't know if you ever frequented an open mic, Rob, but it's usually other comics and a few drunks that are not giving a shit whatsoever. And Eric's known, I would say, Eric's kind of he walks into some places that they kind of almost like they already are like it's like a preconceived notion that Eric's to be not ignored, but Eric is to be the butt of the room, like and then. Yeah. I love it when Eric snaps and he starts getting mad and starts saying what's really on his mind, because then that shit's funny.
Look, in their defense, when I see a 50-year-old white guy at an open mic, what the hell's going on here? You know what I mean? Like, you're not some 20-year-old who has a future and you're starting to break into the business. You are delusional, is my first thought. And luckily, I'm the exception to the rule, but they don't know that, so they treat me like the other guys. It's very unfair.
There's a yeah. You see,
unfair.
you see that?
This is my fear. I say something mildly amusing. I look at his face. It's frozen like this.
It's already frozen. That's what I'm saying. This is good practice. Like, and also Rob's not an easy audience, man. Like it's not somebody you want to. It's not somebody you want to open mic on. Like Rob's somebody you talk like a normal person.
Yeah. So anyway, have you seen a Zoom call?
Yeah,
Rob,
no, I have not seen a Zoom comedy show yet.
Okay, so you're my people.
No, what is it? How?
You just watched him try to tell a joke.
Yeah, I'm.
They're not that bad.
I'm completely on Rob's side. You see where I'm coming from?
It depends really on the show itself and the people that are tuning into it. I've done like one shit show out of all the shows that I've done, and even that shit show wasn't that bad. I just say it was a shit show because nobody tipped anything. But there was an audience there, and I could tell I made them laugh. The key to it, I find, is to just is to try to deliver your material like I'm talking to you guys. It's really a conversation online. You're having a video call. You can be as animated as you want or as still as you want. Also, keep the shit in gallery view. Like, have your screen in gallery view so you can see some faces. Even if you're not hearing, if they're muted, that way you can see some faces and get a response. But some shows, if they're run well, will leave some people's audio on to laugh. And if you got that, then you kind of got a little bit from it. But yeah, it's I say the same thing with open mics or with the Zoom shows as open mics. It really tests your level of commitment to your material if you're willing to deliver it in this medium and not anticipate the reaction that's expected. And I think it changes shit up, and comedians are not good at being outside their comfort zones. Along with anybody else. I mean, Rob, have you had to do some auditions via Zoom at all, or?
Yeah, and actually, right now, I just last week or 2 weeks ago, we filmed a web series that's based on Zoom calls. So it's about a small business and their series of Zoom calls to become an essential business. I'm the chief financial officer on that show. So we shot that whole thing on a Zoom meeting. What we would do is you would pin your own video, and then the director's there, but just not in the video call. So there's a director there monitoring each take, and then they come in between takes, and then they give you notes. You run through it again. It was a cool process. Poor internet connection, damned, but it's definitely something I can see doing a lot of in the future. And with like Zoom comedy shows and all, as long as we can figure out how to have an interaction, like, I imagine watching the chat room, would be a good thing to add to it. Adding sound, having somebody that's giving you notes, whatever it takes, just to add that other dimension to it. It's definitely something that we're going to be doing for a long time. So
you see what Rob's doing right there, and it's keeping an open mind to be adaptable there, Eric, as opposed to shutting down right away and immediately saying there is no way this Zoom comedy thing is going to work, and then 2 months later saying like, well, looks like I'm going to give it a shot now. I've got no fucking choice. And I've seen, because I did 3 first Zoom comedy shows that were run by this past weekend. Butch Escobar ran his first show, which was a storytelling show, and he has kind of a rowdy following. They were great. Did the first Best of SF comedy show that they ran on Zoom, and that one was run like streamlined. You would have thought they've been doing it for ages. Like they ran it really well. We had a laughing audience. I had to say for a first show, probably the best first show I've done. And then Rhoda Ramon just started doing her show, which is kind of also an adaptation kind of storytelling type thing, and that worked out really well. So they all were good. But yeah, this thing's gonna end in about a minute, so I want to thank you guys for checking in, being a part of the epic version of Checking In with in the meantime with Rob Davis here and Eric Summers. Hope you have great days and enjoy the rest of your weeks and stuff. And obviously it's less depressing this time, Rob. So, you know.
Can I just give one last plug?
Please do.
Everybody go check out Banded Beauty Show on YouTube. They're like 5-minute episodes, kind of like Quibi, you know, in that format, all done on Zoom, very relevant for right now. And you'll find me in episode 7. I think it's funny, fun, and it's something that you're gonna see more of in the future.
Fuck yeah. And Eric will be doing more comedy shows in the future. So
yeah. Just check my Facebook page for notifications.
EricSummers.com, everybody. Hi Hop Harvey. Check out Hi Hop Harvey.
Sounds
on
good.
YouTube.
Thanks,
Hi Hop Harvey. Hi Hop Harvey on YouTube. Best movie ever.
MeanDave has had multiple DUIs as an alcoholic anonymous. He should try the 13th step, which is telling a fucking joke for once. Wouldn't that be nice?
Damn right. So, all right, guys. Have a great day. We'll see you soon.
All right, everybody.
Bye-bye.
I mean, you know what I mean? You know what I say? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? I say what I mean. That's true. I mean what I say. That's the mean I had to train my beat myself up. I put my nose, I put my head, I wrestle myself to the ground. That's how mean. You know what I mean? I practically lie. And it took me all night. And I give it all right. Because I'm so mean. I'm mean. You know what I mean? I jump myself to death and broke the choke and rolled out. Then I snap my cock up and do it across the fucking rain. I'm mean. I mean what I say. You know what I mean? I'm meaner than spit. I'm meaner than shit. I'm meaner than mean. I'm mean. I'm mean.
Hello, everybody. I've been asked by MeanDave to roast MeanDave.